We invite all listeners to tune in every Thursday at approximately 7:25 a.m. for TTUTA Speaks, a program which deals with all issues affecting teachers, schools, and the education sector in general. So join us right here on I-95.5 every Thursday morning at 7:25. Blessed Corpus Christi Thursday morning to all I-95.5 listeners. This is a segment, TTUTA Speaks, and I'm your presenter, Patricia Eversley. The segment comes to you with the very kind compliments of M&M Insurance Broking Services Limited, leading in ideas and services. My guest this morning is Mr. Lance Motley, President of the National Primary Schools Principals Association, NAPSPA, Principal of Carenage Boys Government Primary, and no stranger to the I-95.5 family, who is here to talk about primary schools funding. Good morning, Mr. Motley, and welcome.
Let me first of all say thanks to TTUTA for giving me the opportunity to address this burning issue on behalf of the National Primary School Principals Association and on behalf of principals in general.
How are primary schools funded?
There are three categories of primary schools in Trinidad and Tobago. There are government-assisted or denominational schools, large government schools, and small government schools. The category of schools determine how they are funded. So, denominational schools receive fundings through their board by the state or from the state. Large government schools get funding into a bank account that goes directly to them. And small government schools are funded by the state, of course, but through the relevant district offices.
Do you know if primary schools have received any funding from the state for this academic year?
Yes. A lot of schools have received funding from the state for this academic year, but a whole lot more have not. And that is what has been the crux of the matter. What makes it worse is that some of these schools which have not received funding for this academic year have not received funding for the last academic year. This poses a significant challenge for schools in general, but for these schools in particular which have not received funding for at least 2 academic years.
How does a lack of funding or inadequate funding affect the running of schools?
Well, that's a great question because schools depend heavily on the government to fund their day-to-day activities, day-to-day management. This includes, of course, stationery. This includes, of course, office supplies and stationery and cleaning materials. What we have found is that the schools that have not received funding are having difficulty in meeting their cleaning needs and, of course, their office supplies. And what these schools have been doing is relying on the good graces of donors and, of course, students, the parents.
How has NAPSPA been treating with this issue?
Well, NAPSPA has been at the forefront of this issue for a very long time. We have engaged the Minister of Education. In fact, we have had a number of meetings with the Minister of Education and his team. We have also had meetings with the Permanent Secretary as well as other hierarchical members of the Ministry of Education. And we meet regularly with TTUTA and the Ministry of Education. And this has been a front burner issue for NAPSPA in all of these meetings. One of the things that the Ministry of Education has been saying is that principals are to be blamed for outstanding debts, which is one of the issues in this whole issue. We at NAPSPA reject that outright. Principals are not responsible for paying vendors. That is a function of the state. Principals are only required, particularly in the small government schools, principals are only required to source the items that they need, have 3 quotations, submit that to the district offices, and the district office takes the issue from there. So to blame principals for the lack of payment to vendors really, I think, is a scapegoat, and we reject that outright. But I want to say this, in all of our meetings in many of our meetings with the Ministry of Education, sometimes high-ranking officials of the Ministry of Education have been quite honest with us and told us quite simply that the Ministry of Education simply has no money to pay these debts or to fund schools. But we cannot find comfort even in that. Even if that is so, we cannot find comfort in that because schools need money to function.
Thank you very much, Mr. Motley, for joining me this morning. And as we close, the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association invites all early childhood care and education practitioners to an ECCE symposium on Saturday, June 29th, 2019. Feature speaker will be Miss Lisa Booth Riley from the Jamaica Teachers Association. For more information, please feel free to contact TUTA's offices at 645-2134 or 645-3825. You have been listening to TUTA Speaks. You can contact us at president@ttuta.org, that is president@tuta.org, or telephone TUTA's head office at 645-2134, 645-3825, or 663-2738, or contact Mr. Dudai at 681-8057.